Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Entrepreneur Investor Connection. I don't know what's going on there. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to happening. I'm not sure what's happening, but hello. Welcome back to the Entrepreneur Investor Connection. Today, I'm going to be talking about decentralized finance. I've been having a lot of conversations about cryptocurrency for the past months, but in the past week, I've had a bunch of really good ones with some high level people. And one of the things that came away from one of those conversations was the word cryptocurrency. Right now, the word cryptocurrency has a connotation with gambling. And that's because most people look at it and they say, oh, I can put money into this coin and maybe it turns into 5, 10, 20, 30, 50x in 3 weeks. So that kind of connects to gambling. So a lot of people see cryptocurrency as this idea of getting rich quick. And what I thought about during one of these conversations was that pretty much eliminates one of the biggest opportunities within this cryptocurrency movement, which is decentralized finance. And I think most people don't really understand what decentralized finance means. So I said, you know what, today let's talk about it. I'll explain how I view it, and maybe we can have a conversation about any questions or any comments. So I'll start out by saying what I believe decentralized finance is it's the innovation of the finance system, right? And of course, that's a little bit of a vague thing, but what innovation is? Innovation is when technology and systems come for an industry and it totally disrupts that industry. So the finance industry has many different pillars, right? We talk about the banking industry, we talk about Wall Street, we talk about investment, we talk about borrow loans and borrowing, right? So decentralized finance, what it has done is it has eliminated the need for as many people, for as many systems, and eliminated the need for trust, right? So when you think about trust, you have to, the reason we put our money in a bank right now is because we trust that that bank is going to keep our money safe, is going to have our money when we need it, and is going to be open at the times that we know they're open so we can go and get our money, right? But when you look at cryptocurrency, all of that is a little more vague. It's like, all right, who has my money? Where is it? How do I get it? How am I going to, what happens if I can't access it, right? So I think right now, part of what I wanted to make sure I start discussing is all the differences and really come to an understanding. I want most people to understand why this is such an impactful thing that you really should be pay attention to, and starting to dip your toe in the waters. And it doesn't even have anything to do with buying any cryptocurrency. The decentralized finance industry and technology innovation has come because of cryptocurrency, but it doesn't mean you have to buy Bitcoin. It doesn't mean you have to buy Ethereum. You can do this with just USDC. So part of what I want you to start seeing is, okay, when a company gets disrupted, let's think about Uber, right? Uber and Airbnb. Those are two of the biggest disruptive technology companies to come along for a long time. And most people understand when I bring this up. When Uber was being pitched, most of the investors thought the cab companies are, they're not going to go down without a huge fight. There's all kind of regulation. There's all kind of roadblocks to that innovation actually happening. But what they didn't understand was that innovation was going to go beyond the taxi cabs, right? It was going to touch every single person that travels anywhere, right? So if you move from one place to another, Uber was going to affect you whether you were in an Uber or not. So of course they probably didn't pitch it this way, but the idea of the market was going to scale massively. So if you were an investor listening to that pitch, in the beginning you would think, yeah, right, there's no way they're going to be able to do this. But if you were in innovation and you understood, wait a minute, they're going to turn every car into a cab. How many cars are there? How many people would do that? How many people would turn their car into a cab? And of course, even that was kind of like, nobody's going to do that. But when you think about it, it happened, right? Because why? You're giving the opportunity for people to make money anytime they want, anywhere they want, using their own personal property. And there's so many rules that you would think that's so illegal. How could you drive somebody in your car, take them? What happens if you get into a car accident? All these rules. Uber didn't pay attention to any of that. They innovated and let the laws come to them. Airbnb, the exact same thing. There's hotel laws. There's a hotel cartel in every city, major city. There's no way that would ever work. Now, a lot of people travel and they mostly use Airbnb because it's cheaper. And then there's people like me who invest in vacation real estate because I know people are going to rather use Airbnb than hotels in the area I invested in. And if you think about what's happening with decentralized finance, this is the same exact idea where before a lot of people were left out of the wealth building finance system. That included Wall Street investment. That included banking, right? Being able to actually benefit from the banking relationship in a very positive way without having to talk to a human being. Then we talk about wealth building, right? When I talk about wealth building, most people think, oh yeah, you buy real estate over time, it appreciates, you can give it to your kids. But to get into a real estate property, one, you have to have a great job. Two, you have to have great credit. And three, you have to have 20% of the down payment of a real estate property. So that leaves out a large portion of people. But with cryptocurrency, literally every human being with as little as $1 can start building towards these things, and they can instantly be in this finance world, just like Uber made every car a cab company, and Airbnb made every home a possible hotel. Now cryptocurrency makes any phone or computer a bank that you can create yourself and make money on. So this is where part of what I do with Meta Bronx and teaching young kids, I have to start to figure out how to explain things to younger people than adults. So it helps me to start thinking through how to explain this. But with that explanation, I want to get any feedback from anybody, any questions about what I said, because I want to make sure that everybody understands what decentralized finance is. And if you don't, I want to make sure you don't leave this broadcast without understanding that. So anybody in the Clubhouse? Hello, Cheryl?
So,
yeah.
Hi, Miguel.
Hi, Cheryl.
Hi, Francisco. That was an interesting take, and thank you for that. I don't know if it's a believer, non-believer, but I do believe that the financial system we currently have is ripe for disruption. I believe decentralized finance does open a lot of opportunities and possibilities for changing the way that people are able to monetize, and particularly in certain areas. I think the one thing, and I have invested in some crypto, I think the one thing I still really struggle with is how, unless the crypto is divorced from the dollar, how will we ever really see real value when the monetary institutions and the IMF are governing everything and trying to, I know on the one hand, they're trying to get into crypto because they don't know what they're doing and they know they might miss out. But on the other hand, they're also, trying to impose the same kind of institutions and rules and restrictions that they always have. And so for me, it's just this, how do you see that we will be able to divorce from like the dollar currency to make crypto into something more meaningful? I'm not saying it's not, because I think a lot of people believe that it is, including myself, but that's the thing I struggle with.
So I guess your question comes up a lot, like what makes the real value, and then how do you stop a country from saying it's just not legal here, right? Because what you're saying is, how do you divorce it from the dollar so it's not needed in in America, right? So basically the idea is if you wanted to use your cryptocurrency without using dollars, would it be possible? Is that your question?
Not really, because I know you can use crypto without the dollar. It's just more that, how, let's say, and I even, let's say that you have a small business and you want to be able to offer your services and let people pay in crypto. How do you then reconcile those accounts with what the IRS is going to be looking at, let's say?
So you're saying like what happens in the matrix of cryptocurrency, right? Like how do you understand your taxes and stuff like that?
How do we bring it into the real business world? Like, how do we bring it into the real business world? Like, I know when you have Elon Musk saying, oh, yeah, Tesla, we're going to accept crypto for Tesla's. That's a PR thing. That's
okay, I'll give you some examples. I'll give you some examples because I personally started to do it. Of course, I'm not sure if I'm doing it 100% the right way, but when I think about decentralized finance, and my current version of my current business, which is more of an agency right now. If I make, let's say I work with a client and they have me build an app and they pay me $50,000 to build the app. The way it normally works is they give me half up front. So let's say they will give me 25,000 and then they will give me half once I'm done, half when I start and half when I finish, right? That's the normal agency model. Of course, there's many other ways you could do it, but that's the main one that most people use. What that means is I used to always say this. So I'm the bank, right? At the end of the day, I pay out all my resources and people working on my project. And then I have to wait for the second payment for me to make money and me to pay my office bills and all kind of overhead, right? So how could that change with decentralized finance? Let's say I do get that first 25,000. What I can do with that 25,000 is I can borrow off of that 25,000 and start paying my vendors. And now when that second 25,000 comes in, I'm not in as bad of a position, right? Because I still have the original 25 plus I have the borrowed amount, which if you borrow off of cash, you could borrow, I think, almost 90% of what you have. And of course, why would you do that, right? The idea is you don't want to use your cash. You want to borrow off of it to further the ability for you to operate, right? So the more you do that over time, and let's say we take a percentage of that 25,000 and we invest in crypto, Bitcoin, Ethereum, some safe coins like that are also collateral assets. As those things grow in value, which on average for the last 10 years, they've grown over 200% a year, the amount of value that you have will grow and that will create more runway for your business, right? Because right now, what will happen in the opposite direction? You would basically have to go to a bank and ask for a loan, and the interest rate of that loan is going to be much higher than a crypto interest loan, and they're going to have a monthly payment. With a crypto bank, there's no monthly payment. You just pay it over time and make sure that your collateral never reaches your loan. And that is a super powerful concept if you use it. And the way it comes out is I send it to a Coinbase card that I swipe, and I use it to pay for things. And even that Coinbase card, they give me interest. So I don't know if I answered your question, but that's how I do it right now. And it has worked.
I think, for agency models, I think it is particular. I think they're going to be one of the first to find success with it. And I totally understand what you're saying. I think that's a very smart way to think about the long-term building of collateral and equity and value in the business. I wonder though, like your vendors in turn, they might not want to be paid in crypto. So even though
but you can borrow USDC. So everything I'm talking about USDC. So that 25,000 would be USDC. So I will put it into the crypto bank as 25,000 of USDC, and then I borrow USDC and I use that to pay.
Okay. Oh, I see. Okay, so you're the crypto as the collateral for the USDC.
Well, but the USDC is a crypto, but it's not volatile. You can also use Bitcoin and Ethereum, but When you borrow off of USDC, it's kind of like borrowing off of dollars. So the dollar doesn't move, so your loan is very, very safe. If you start dabbling into some more riskier coins like Bitcoin and Ethereum, yes, the market moves and it could end up liquidating you if you borrow too much. So this is where there is some understanding that you have to start learning by doing. And I learned by losing a lot of money, but you know, I'm glad I learned it as early as I did, because now it powers every business idea I have. The power of becoming your own bank instantly is very, it's like a ripple effect that can last for many, many years, right? Like imagine you raise, so I'll give you another example. Imagine you're a startup and you raise $1 million today. Imagine now using that $1 million and starting to create your own crypto bank where you start to borrow off of that and grow the value of that $1 million. And in a few years, that $1 million could be $5-10 million. Plus, you're still operating your business because you're borrowing off of it to actually pay your service costs. It's just I know it's probably mind bending, but I'm here to answer questions from anybody anywhere that's listening. It's Cheryl with you too, and Paco, I see you're about to say something.
Yeah, no, I think it was. Thank you.
Go ahead, Cheryl. You go first.
No, I was just going to say thanks for sharing those thoughts, Miguel. It does make a lot of sense, and it was interesting to hear your perspective.
Thank you for coming by.
Thank you, Cheryl, for the wonderful questions. And Miguel, let me a little bit. Want to welcome Ani on the phone call, Jay, Allison, Devin, Chef, Miguel Sanchez Jr., Senior. Your room. This is the Clubhouse room. I know you're multitasking, so you're probably on Instagram and other mediums. I take the question that Cheryl asked sort of to a different place, and that is that when Uber came around, people said, "What's going to happen to the regular taxis?" Well, they're still around. I think in New York City, it killed the gypsy cab business, although I think there's some there. Well, the gypsies became Ubers. We had medallions that were worth some like almost $1 million. They're worthless practically now. So that's an industry that got killed. I don't know what happened to the blacks in London, which have been there for hundreds of years. But they're still around, and people say, what's going to happen to the hotels with Airbnb? Well, the hotels are still around, and I'm not sure at what level of existence the hotels are. I know that I go to Puerto Rico right now in Christmas, and all the hotel rooms are full, but so is Airbnb. If you try to get an Airbnb in the San Juan metropolitan right now, you cannot find one Airbnb available. So it seems like those are. So what about regular dollars with this Bitcoin and cryptocurrency? It seems to me that for a while it's almost going to be like a continuum, like a process that both are going to exist. But if I was going to take a bet in which one is going to survive, I would say cryptocurrency as opposed to the regular fiat. And the regular fiat will have to change somehow. Countries are going to be able to adapt or to this new way of decentralized financing, because it certainly gives people a flexibility that they didn't have before. For instance, Miguel talks about all the time that, and I see it, that if you have X amount of dollars in the bank and you want to go to a bank branch and say, I want to borrow $5,000 of my $50,000 that I have in CDs in this bank, and I need it right now. They'll give you an application and they put you through a process because you don't want to cash in your CDs, as opposed to the Miguel Sanchez model where you go to your wallet and pretty much you can borrow the $5,000 if you have the backup of $50,000 in it. It's very different kind of a process for someone as young as I am at 82 years old. It's been a person whose degrees are in finance. It took a long time for me to be able to put my arms around this new technology, this new way of looking at financing, this new way of looking at money. But I personally believe that it's here to stay. In what form it's going to stay, in what form is the IRS going to go after it. I know certain things that I've watched for. So, for instance, why are multimillionaires in cryptocurrency moving to Puerto Rico and a couple of other islands in droves? Why is cryptocurrency moving to Puerto Rico? One possible answer is that the government saw these millionaires doing transactions, and they decided that those transactions were not being done in currencies but in assets. And assets are
different tax.
They can do capital gains tax. So all of a sudden, multimillionaires saw the government gobble up capital gains tax of 25, something from 22 to 30%, and they said, you know what, we're out of here. And they go to Puerto Rico where they pay no capital gains tax. They pay $4,000 a year or something, and they have to establish a residency there. So that's a flag that the governments don't know. I think Cheryl said they don't know what they're doing. They're probably correct. But if they get an opportunity to try to gobble up and get into the thing, they will. But the people who know will shift, because Miguel Sanchez, for instance, says we're at the beginning. This thing is in diapers. This thing is evolving, and he said the reason I'm recommending is because one of these days it's going to be an adolescent, and a couple of years from now it'll be a teenager. And if you get involved with it now, there's possibility that you do very, very well for yourself. And Miguel Sanchez always says this: he doesn't give financial advice. He basically suggests what he's doing. So he gives it for information and entertainment reasons, not as financial advice. Anyway, I got long-winded.
No, it's fine. It's fine. Definitely, you made me think of something, right? The idea of assets versus cash is different, right? Because if you are an investor, most investors take cash as fast as possible out of being cash, and they put it into assets that appreciate in value, because cash depreciates in value. So as you see this year, we have the highest inflation in like maybe forever for America. So what are people doing with their cash? And that's where I'm saying right now, and there's even levels of this, because I even saw a stat that said most Americans can't even afford a $600 emergency. They don't have a $600 emergency fund, right? So if you think about that, most people don't even have $600 in the bank. But let's say if you do, if you have $600 in the bank, it's losing value every year because inflation is 6.5% and the bank is giving you 0.01% interest. So you're basically losing 6.5% of your value of your dollar every year that you just keep money in a bank. But if you put your money in assets that grow in value, like real estate, like art, like crypto, like stock, your money grows in value. But what happens with that is it gets locked in those assets. So for instance, if I buy $1 million property, I can't use that $1 million, right? If I need to eat, I can't use that $1 million, but the banking system and many systems are in place for me to borrow off of that value of that property. And now I can eat because I have $1 million property and I could borrow off of it. So that same idea now is possible with cryptocurrency with select assets, though. Not every single cryptocurrency. You can't borrow off of Shiba. You can't borrow off of Dogecoin. You can borrow off of Bitcoin. And Coinbase last week promoted that they're going to let people borrow up to $1 million off of their Bitcoin. So when you start seeing these things, I want to make sure that we're connecting the dots of what this really means. Like if you start building up, even with Bitcoin, which Bitcoin is probably going to grow the least amount out of all of the cryptocurrencies, but it's the safest, right? So, but if you start building up a Bitcoin bank with some cash, USDC, you can take that very far, because I'll give you a very simple example. Let's say you had $10,000, you put 5 of it in Bitcoin and you kept 5 of it as cash. Not financial advice at all, because I wouldn't even do this, but I'm just giving you a simple example. In a year, based on historical facts, within the first year, that Bitcoin should become at least 10,000. So let's say you had 5,000 of cash and the Bitcoin became 10. Now you have $15,000. But again, like I said before, but it's in this system that I have Bitcoin. I had a person call me and say, look, I'm buying Bitcoin, but I'm selling it to live my life. And I'm like, oh, so you don't really even understand that you can borrow off of it instead of selling it. So imagine with that 15,000, now you can borrow even more. And every year that passes, now that 10 becomes 20, that 20 becomes 40. Year after year after year, that amount that you're able to borrow off of to live or run your business starts to grow. So this is where understanding this is super powerful. Anything you want to do, it impacts. You could create even a vacation fund, right? Like imagine, I know people that say that I'm gonna put out a little bit of money every month for my vacation. Imagine you doing that, but if you take a percentage of it and you put it into crypto too, and you put it into AAVE that's giving 9% interest on cash, you can end up with a quicker vacation funding than if you just put it in the bank and get 0.01 interest, right? So this is why, like, I want to just start having these conversations and make sure it's clear to everyone what's possible, and definitely answer any questions that people have. I saw Cheryl, you about to have a question?
Yeah, Miguel, I was going to ask you, which one did you say was giving 9% interest?
So it's a website called AAVE, AAVE.
Okay.
.com, AAVE.com, and I'm going to show it on my YouTube.
Okay.
I'll share my screen and show you. But yeah, it's pretty crazy. And even if you don't, and this is a little bit advanced, but even if you wanted to do it on a very simple way, you can sign up for Gemini, which I have a $10 coupon in my description. But if you sign up for Gemini, Gemini is giving 9% interest on USD, on GUSD, which is Gemini's version of cash. So let's say you put $10,000 in Gemini, you can get 9% interest on it by just clicking a few buttons. So but I don't know if they let you borrow and stuff like that though. But I'll show you. I'm sharing my screen. Okay. So on AAVE, there's different markets on AAVE. So if you're looking on the screen, I'll show you. There's the Polygon market, and there's the Avalanche market, and there's the Ethereum market.
Are you? What screen are you
on YouTube? On YouTube, I'm not sure. Whoever ran this room, if you could put my link to YouTube.
Oh, okay, I'm on it. I see it.
Okay. So there's three major markets. There's Ethereum's market, and there's Polygon and Avalanche. So I'll show you Ethereum first. So Ethereum, right now in AAVE, there's $15 billion, almost $16 billion of real people's money, because you can't fake this. This is the blockchain. $15 billion in here of people getting interest and borrowing off of their assets. So look at all the assets you can borrow off of on the Ethereum blockchain. It scrolls for a while, right? Okay. So on USDC, here they're giving 3.17 plus another 0.65. So that's not 9, but I'll show you some other markets. Here on the Polygon market, there's $4 billion here, and they're giving 3.26 interest plus another 1.65. So that's about 5% interest. Then you go to the Avalanche blockchain, and here is where you'll see, here they have 4.72 plus 2.65, and this varies a little bit. So, but right here is 4 plus 2, that's 6. It's about 7% interest, but it goes as high as 11% sometimes. I see it move up and down. This is one of the lower percentages I've seen. But again, that's cash, very safe. And again, if you're scared about your money, there's $6 billion in this market right now, almost $7 billion. So if you got 2,000, 5,000, 10,000, it's not, not safe in here, because if people are willing to put billions of dollars, I'm not worried about putting tens of thousands. So this right here is the core application of creating your own bank. By depositing your collateral assets in here, you are starting that process, because one, you get interest, and much higher interest than any bank. look at, if you put Avalanche in here, if you buy the Avalanche coin and you put it in here, you're getting almost 14% interest on your money. Actually, more than 14% interest. So this is like a really game-changing thing. And then imagine as a business. Again, I said, you just raised $1 million. Okay, now I have to make that $1 million last me as long as possible. Borrow off of it, and as you start gaining revenue, you pay down your loan. Instead, because this is something that happens to all businesses. Start a business today, open up your bank account in any bank, and go ask for a loan. Put money in the bank, however much you can, and go ask for a loan. See what happens. Business banks, you have to be in business for a full year. I remember one business I started, I literally had $250,000 in the bank, and they wouldn't lend me money. And it was because I was under a year in business. And I'm like, but I have the money right there. Yeah, it doesn't matter. So imagine if I had that now and I put that in here. What could I do with that? How much longer of a runway could my idea have if I was in power to borrow off of myself instead of hoping some bank breaks their own rules, which they're not going to do? So this is why I'm like, for the entrepreneurs, for the investors, this is very big. And I'll give you another example as an investor. So I've been investing in Bitcoin and Ethereum for a while, not many years. But what I did was, one day I saw a new coin that I said, wow, this coin is probably going to go pretty well. I don't want to spend my Ethereum though. I don't want to spend my Bitcoin. So what did I do? I put it in here and I borrowed against my Bitcoin and Ethereum. And I put that money into that coin. That was a risk. That coin 10x'd. And now I had my Bitcoin and my new investment. I could sell down some of that investment to pay down the loan. And now I had both. And I'll take it even a step further. A few months ago, I really was researching the metaverse. And I said, you know what? Before this year is up, I need to buy land in the metaverse. I have to figure out how to do it. Trusty bank of mine, I borrowed at the perfect time, bought a bunch of coins. I bought the Mana coin, which is Decentralized currency. I bought it for 40 cents. I borrowed a bunch of money off of my bank to buy that coin. Now that coin today is $5. And I was able to buy the land, but now the land is really, really expensive. So again, if I didn't have that ability to borrow off of myself, I would have lost that opportunity, multiple opportunities this year alone. But because of the power of nobody being able to tell me no, of what I could do with my own money, I've been able to benefit multiple times in this year alone. And that learning is like, wow, everybody should really understand how to do this. And I know it takes some like mental gymnastics to get your mind around the pieces and the steps. But once you have it, it opens up so much opportunity to you as an entrepreneur, an investor, or a regular person with a job. If you have a regular job and you are, living check to check, you ever hear that? Living check to check. Imagine if you take that check and you start expanding that every week and you grow your collateral assets. And now you can borrow off yourself longer.
Go ahead. You spend some time because you obviously are very inspiring, and obviously you've been very successful in what you're doing. But for some of us who are not as advanced as you are and who worry about our little pennies, where is the risk? Is there any risk in this borrowing? Because I think you got to balance your enthusiasm, your euphoria, which is all correct. There's nothing that you have said that I have problems with, but there's always two sides to a coin. Where is the shadow side of this whole process? Where are the possible risks? Because you have told us in different rooms that at the beginning you did lose money borrowing because of this, because of that. So you need to balance what you're saying by also letting people know where the risks are.
Okay, so Paco's right. There's always risk with any investment, anything you do. Even putting money in a bank, there's risk. If you don't believe that, Look at the last time there was a depression, right? The Great Depression, people were going to the bank and the bank was not giving them their money, right? And if everybody went to the bank at the same time to take out money, the bank couldn't do it. So even in a bank, there's risk. But I'm going to tell you the risk of crypto. So the first risk is the volatility of the assets. If you buy Bitcoin, Ethereum, they go up, they go down. So what Paco is talking about is when I did that first loan, the market was like amazing. So they were lending me more money because my collateral assets were growing, right? So let's do the math simply again. Let's say I had 10,000 of Ethereum, 10,000 of Bitcoin, and 10,000 of cash. What I did back then was I put it all into Bitcoin and Ethereum, right? So now I have 15,000 of Ethereum, 15,000 of Bitcoin. These are not actual numbers, but I'm just breaking it down. So I borrowed off the Bitcoin and Ethereum. It was worth 30,000. So they were willing to lend me, it's about, I'm going to make the math easy, 50%. They'll let you borrow more than 50%, but just to make easy math, they were willing to lend me $15,000. So I borrowed that $15,000 and I bought this coin called Polygon Matic. It was 33 cents. That coin 10x, almost 10x, like 9x. Let's make the math easy at 10x. So now that 15,000 became 150,000. So now I have 150,000 plus 30,000, right? So that's 180,000, and you were able to use your Polygon Matic as collateral. So I put it in as collateral, and then they said, okay, so you got 150,000 plus 30,000, that's 180,000. We'll lend you 90,000. So I borrowed 90,000. So I had $90,000 loan because I had $180,000 of assets, but there was all volatile assets there. So the market came crumbling down in like a day or two, and it brought all the value of all of my collateral down towards the 90,000. And basically what happened was it reached the collateral. So what they did was they took a third of my collateral assets. So they basically took 30,000 out. So now I have 60. Then the market came right back up, but I lost a third of my coins. And that was a lot of money. And now it's even more if I would have had them. But the lesson to that was, this is where I learned you have to have USDC as part of your collateral. So if I would have had $10,000 of, instead of keeping it as all the variable volatile coins, if I would have took some of it and had it as cash, my loan would have been protected. So that's a major risk, right? When the market moves, if you're all in volatile assets and you're borrowing too much, this is all code. There's not a human being that can tell you no, but they're going to take their money before they lose money. They're not going to allow themselves to lose money. It's code. There's pros and cons to that. It can't be like, hey, I'm coming by with the rest of the money by the end of the day. I promise. Don't take my money. Nope. Instantly happens. Right? And I actually thought they were going to take all of my money. I'm glad they only took a third of it. So that was a major lesson. It was good to learn it that early. It hurt. And I know people that lost a lot more. I know people that had millions of dollars that happened to. I heard this one story, and I just like telling it because it has all the pieces. Sucks for the person, but this person had $1.5 million worth of Ethereum. He borrowed off of the $1.5 million. I think it was like 500,000, and he bought a property in Mexico. The market came down. They took his $1.5 million because it met the 500 and they took it. So he lost $1.5 million. He did still have the property though. But again, if that person would have known what we all know now, he could have not made all that Ethereum and maybe took 300,000 and made it USDC, and now his loan would have been much safer in a up and down of the markets. So Another risk, I'll give you another risk, is not understanding what you're doing. There was a person I was working with that they didn't understand how to send money to the wallets. So they ended up sending $5,000 of Bitcoin to the wrong address. And what ended up happening was that wrong address, she didn't have access to it. So she didn't even know whose wallet it was. I don't even know how they got that number. So that money's gone. There's no customer service you can call and be like, hey, I sent this to the wrong account. Can you fix that, please? So if you don't understand your wallet address, where you're sending it, and you send it, the money is gone. Another big risk is not keeping your secret phrase in a safe place. And that means not on any computer, not on any phone. Because if somebody has that secret phrase, they can go into your wallet and send themselves all of your money. So when you make these MetaMask wallets, Coinbase wallets, you have to figure out a very good system for yourself where you're going to remember these words or keep them in a very safe, multiple places, because multiple safe places. Because like I said, you can lose them. You can have $1 billion in that wallet. If you lose those words, nobody can help you get back into that wallet. And there's people right now, there's a person in the news that has like 3 attempts left to get into their wallet, but they don't know their code. So they're trying to get mathematicians, but they have like $1 billion in the wallet. So they're like, look, I'll pay anything. If you get me in this wallet back, I'll pay. Another big risk is smart contracts. This all is happening through code. So when I show you AAVE and I show you this system where they're borrowing and lending, that's all happening through code. But as you know, there's hackers, and hackers can look at code and figure out a way. So far, this site has not been hacked. But to back that up, this company also says we will refund anything we lose. They have it somewhere on their website, because in the beginning, of course, people are scared, right? Like, wait a minute, where am I putting my money? Is not a human being involved in this? How is that safe? So they've literally had challenges where they bring hackers and they say, look, if you can hack our system and you find something, we'll give you ungodly amount of money, because look, there's like $40 billion in here right now. You'll pay millions of dollars to see if somebody can hack your system, because if they can, then you have a problem. But if you incentivize the community to say, find our holes for us so we can patch them, that's what these people do. And then they have an insurance policy to say, if you lose your money, we'll give it back. So that, again, those are the big risks I can think of. Smart contract risk.
Miguel,
wallet risk.
I want to say that, because there's no human beings involved in this system, there's no evil, and in life, as well in this system, but in this system in particular, because there is no evil in life, there is evil. But as I like to say, the enemy, and I got this from a philosopher, a priest that died, a German priest called Bonhoeffer. He said the enemy of the good is not evil, because you can do stuff with evil. And this system, I have applied it. The enemy of the good of this system is not evil. It's stupidity. If you're stupid, you're gonna lose your shirt here. So you have to be, because it's there's no human involved here. This is a code, and the code has no emotions.
None.
The code is what the code is. And so if you're stupid, like Miguel gave me this password for MetaMask, which is
12 words.
12 different words. If I am not responsible of where I'm going to put those 12 words, and I lose my password constantly, and I have to change it. If I lose my 12 words, I'm in trouble. So I've made sure that I have the password not on my phone because they can hack that, not on my computer because they can hack that.
Yep.
I've copied it. I put it in different places. I have it in a safe deposit box. My wife knows where it is, just in case I slip in a banana peel and I don't leave a mess. That's a responsibility of not being stupid, because this system is not evil. It's not evil at all. It's a machine. It's a machine with no emotion. So I don't know if that makes any sense to anybody. But
Yeah, like
that's
I tell everybody, there's no customer service in the matrix, right? So you have to be responsible for your own property. This is property, right? That's why they call them custodial wallets. It's because you own your property. So you have to be responsible for how you protect that. And the way they've created the code is they created these 12-word systems that they're like, currently, there's no computer that can hack that system. Of course, maybe in 10, 20 years, that may be possible, but I'm sure there'll be an update to the way all this works by then. 20 years ago, the internet was just really being started. And look at what we're doing now. I'm streaming to like 5, 6 different places on Clubhouse, right? Like, I've seen the growth of the internet, and I can only imagine what happens in the next 20 years with this being possible. And the more people that understand decentralized finance and use that from now, imagine in 20 years what all the values of like Bitcoin, Ethereum, but if you're using it in a smart way to borrow off of it instead of to waste it, you could really have a different life versus not knowing that at all. And just saying, oh, this crypto thing is stupid, I'm not going to pay attention to it. If you really start to like hone in and say, okay, let me just, again, bring a beginner's mind to this and not have any preconceived judgment and just say, okay, let me just understand what it is. Then from there, I'll make judgment. This decentralized finance thing, probably the biggest thing I've ever seen that will allow people that come from communities like I come from the South Bronx, where most people had money under their mattress, you know, and still, even now, the Bronx is one of the most unbanked boroughs in New York City and probably across across America. So being unbanked, that's one of the most dangerous ways to hold your money, right? And again, what's the worst part of that is, again, when they're unbanked, they have most of their money in cash, which we spoke about before. Cash is depreciating in value at the highest rate in the history of America right now. So I just saw a funny tweet, like somebody was showing that they had to spend $340 on Thanksgiving, and they're like, wow, I don't really remember it costing this much before. But everything's starting to cost more and more and more. So this is where bringing your assets, your cash into assets, but not losing the opportunity to use them. And that's where I see such a huge opportunity, because like I said, if you wanted to invest, let's say you had a bunch of money and you want to invest in a real estate property, just because you own $1 million real estate property doesn't mean you can eat that day, right? If you have no cash to eat, but you own $1 million real estate property, you can't be like, yeah, but I have that property. Can I have this pizza? Nope, I need the cash, right? The difference with Bitcoin and Ethereum and these coins I'm trying to show you, you can say, you know what? I have $1 million worth of crypto, but I'm going to borrow $5 to buy a slice of pizza. That's possible. That's really not as and even with the bank and a property, you can do it, but it's going to take not instant like it is with cryptocurrency. So I want to keep getting questions. Any questions from anybody, anywhere? Ask. Somebody asked me, what's your coin of the day pick? I saw AAVE was down today. AAVE was dark red. You're going to see that clip come out. I would buy AAVE. AAVE is the bank I just showed you. That's the coin of that bank. So if you look at AAVE and you see they have $40 billion in it right now, and most of the world doesn't even understand what's going on, can you imagine what will happen when everybody understands that you can do this on an app like this? This app should go insane. Not financial advice, though. But it's also a collateral asset. So if you buy AAVE, you can bring it into AAVE and borrow off of it. So it has the triple whammy for me. I think it's going to go up in value. It's a collateral asset, and it's down today. So any other questions from anybody, anywhere? If not, I'll keep going. Anybody? No? All right. So another big thing I've been thinking about is, and I've been creating this content. I've started a wallet for $1,000. I started a wallet and I said, okay, I'm going to show everybody how I grow it. And I'm going to, every day I go in and I do the same system I do for multiple other wallets. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to start showing you that wallet. And I'm going to talk about what's going on in there. And something big happened yesterday that I hadn't seen before. So this is another thing, because we're so early in this whole system. We're going to see things because we're like the pioneers, you know, and things are going to happen and you're going to deal with them. Yesterday, something happened where the gas fee to make a transaction in my wallet, I wasn't looking at it. And I ended up spending like a ridiculous amount of money to make a transaction. And it's funny because somebody who watched it, they put a comment up and they were like, you just spent like $70 on a transaction, which that's nothing in Ethereum. You spend way more than $70 on a transaction. But I was on the Avalanche blockchain. So that shouldn't be the thing. An Avalanche blockchain is supposed to be 20, 50 cents, $1. But it was $70 yesterday. So I ended up not doing anything to the bank because I didn't think it made sense to make that transaction. So what that means is, remember when I showed you the screen and I showed you the Ethereum side of this. The Ethereum gas fee right now, last time I tried to make a transaction, it was going to cost me $150 to make a transaction. So think about in the grand scheme of things, when you're about to make a purchase or pull out a loan, how much money do you have to be willing to pull out to make $150 transaction worth it, right? If you're pulling out $500, there's no way $150 makes sense to spend to pull out to pull out 500. 5,000 still. 50,000, yes, maybe, but still. So this is why Ethereum right now is really for really the ultra rich people that bought Ethereum early on. So you look here, a lot of this money is like, all these wallets are huge money wallets. So then when you come to these other blockchains, Polygon has 4 billion almost, but the gas fee is a lot less. I did a transaction today. The gas fee was about 12 cents versus $150. So you have to start playing around with different blockchains, because even yesterday when I was on the Avalanche blockchain, it was crazy. I could have went to the Matic blockchain, Polygon, and still made a buy. But if I was only on one, I wouldn't be able to, right? I would just had to say, all right, I guess I can't buy anything today because it's too expensive to buy. And that mindset of kind of being in different banks, right? Like the way I see it is I have multiple banks in different locations, right? So I got a Chase Bank and a Citibank. Polygon is one, Avalanche is the other. So when you start doing this, I highly suggest you do a few things. One, create a bank in both blockchains, Avalanche and Polygon. And then two, have multiple wallets doing the same thing. And I know this is maybe a little too advanced, but the reason is sometimes you do something and you spend all of your gas fee, right? So what happened to me on the Avalanche blockchain was yesterday I made a few transactions and I spent all of my Avalanche. So I didn't have any more. Oh, okay. So somebody has a question on StreamYard. Okay, so let me bring you on. Hello, I can hear you now.
Hey, Miguelito.
Rash, all right, give me the question.
Okay, first I just want to say I like the salt and pepper. It's very distinguished on you.
I'm getting my Santa Claus ready.
I love it. So I wanted to ask you, because you when right after Paco was done talking, you went back to talking about the obviously the value of the US dollar. and how, you know, that's actually really volatile right now. So I wanted to ask you, if someone has money in USDT, not DC, but DT, which is way more volatile than the dollar. I mean, it's kind of intense, actually. I'm noticing, so like a client of mine had paid me in that way, which was kind of amazing because they paid for the money to get to that platform. So that was exciting for me because I didn't have to initiate that from cash, you know?
Yep.
So, and it also just, I guess for anyone that's listening, like it really just put not just like my pinky toe in the water, you know, it threw me all the way up to my kneecaps. Yeah. which was amazing, you know, because I see the bigger picture now because I'm vested, I'm in it. I was not forced to be in it, but you know, here I am.
It helped you, right? I think that project, you probably wouldn't have really been able to even do it if that scenario didn't come through in that way, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think I would have done it in baby steps, but this made me, you know, get up and run, you know,
Yep.
sprint there. So now that I'm there, so let's just for shits and giggles say that there's $10,000 in that account. I'm noticing in the US, you know, in my MetaMask, that's where it is. If anybody doesn't know, that's what I'm talking about, having USDT in my MetaMask. So let's say it's $10,000. I'm noticing there are certain days that it's $10,280.
Yeah.
So I'm on my big fat question right now is this. Is it beneficial? Does it behoove me on those days to extract the $280, still keep it at the 10, let's say? What would the process be? Can you hear me?
Yeah. I'm somebody called me and that usually takes out the Instagram audio, so I'm trying to make sure I can hear you though.
Oh, okay. And I'm just wondering, is that beneficial to me on the days that it's up? Because to be honest with you, like 2 or 3 times I saw it at like 580 something, and I was like, holy shit! Like if I did that each time, I know sometimes I see it below, like, you know, in the 9,000, let's say, but
Sure.
majority it's above.
You
Does
can.
that make sense?
Yes. So basically what you're saying is, because this is the okay, hold on, let me restart. I'm going to restart it. The Instagram lost audio because when people call me, it loses the audio feed for some reason. So hold on 1 second. All right, coming back. So stable coins they fluctuate. They peg it to the dollar, but it's not like exact $1. So what's happening in the behind the scenes is they have a bunch of different assets that are changing in value, but they're keeping it as close to a dollar value as possible. So with USDT, it usually has more volatility than others that I've heard of. So what you could do, you definitely could do this, is you can go and convert your USDT in those moments to USDC, and it will create the value of whatever USDC is. So USDT and USDC could have different values, right? Like USDC could be up, down. So you end up with more USDC, and USDT will be up, if that makes sense. So like if, let's say USDT is worth $1.50, just to make the math super easy, and USDC is worth 50 cents, you could sell the $1.50 and buy 3 USDCs. Get it?
Okay.
$1.50, and you bought, the price was lower, so you were able to get more USDC.
Right.
So
So
you
that
could
would
do that.
be the exchange that you think would make the most sense from USDT to C. And what is the transaction cost, do you think? Like,
So there's two
but
costs.
okay.
What was the rest of
Yeah,
the
no,
question?
just trying to figure out like in that world, because it's not a Coinbase world, which I'm very familiar with.
Yeah. So there's 2 transaction costs, and I can show you where it happens and everything. So it's on Uniswap is where you would do this. So Uniswap, I think is that one. Yep, here it is. So Uniswap is where, I mean, there's many different places. I just use Uniswap as, there's many different places you could do this, but Uniswap is one. What you would do is you would pick USDT, that's the original one you have, and then you will convert it into USDC. But when you see, I guess I'm not sure because my wallet is, I don't have a wallet on this browser. Basically, what you see is it tells you the conversion fee. There's usually like a percentage, 1% or less than a percent, that they charge you for making that conversion. So that's the first fee. Then the second fee is the gas fee. That's based on the Ethereum blockchain. So this is where what I would do in your scenario is I would not change it here. I would go into one of these blockchains, either Polygon or Avalanche. And the way you do that is you go to bridge.avax.network, right? And what it does is it sends that USDT to the other blockchain. I guess I'm not gonna let me do this, huh? But when you do it, it's the same setup like this, where you see this, it says, okay, where do you want to send this? How much, what do you want to send and how much of it? And it basically sends it from the Ethereum blockchain to the Avalanche blockchain. And then you can convert it there for cheaper fees of gas. Still going to have the transaction fee of whatever percentage of trading from one coin to another. That's the fee of the platform, right? But then there's the fee of the blockchain, which is the gas fee. So hopefully that made sense. I don't know. Does that make sense to everybody? Does it make sense to you, Fresh?
I mean, yeah, I probably like would need to do it one time to just pop the cherry on it and be like, oh, I get it. Okay. You know,
Definitely. And that's what I recommend that. Just even with like 1,000, just do it with like 1,000 so you see what the whole process is. Of course, make it make sense. If you're doing it on Ethereum, that gas fee could be $150. Like, so I would highly recommend you port it to another blockchain first.
Well, I noticed when I was able to see the transaction history, how that money from the client got there to my wallet, and it was only like I think it was like a $50 or $80 fee, and you know it was a sizable amount, meaning what they had
What they said.
given me, and so I was like, wow, that's amazing. So I feel like if the USDT is up, like I said, like $300, $400, $500 up, and it's costing me, let's say $150 all in to do that, it's definitely to me worth it.
Yeah. The thing is, that same amount will be up in another blockchain, and you can pay 20 cents. Or
say that again.
It could be the same amount up in a different blockchain, and instead of paying $150, you could pay $2.20 versus 150.
Right.
So it's also not for only that first transaction, because everything you do in that blockchain, you're going to pay a gas fee. There's another thing that you did remind me of, which is if you're on Ethereum treats coins differently on the gas fee. So USDC, I'm not going to get super technical, but USDC is a different type of coin than Ethereum. So when you use certain types of coins, the gas fee is less. So, but when you're doing a transaction so like this is sending coins, that transaction fee is less. But if you're swapping coins, that transaction fee is going to be higher. But if you're swapping Ethereum, that is going to be even higher. So like if you're swapping USDC for USDT, the gas fee is probably going to be lower. But if you're swapping USDC for Ethereum, that gas fee is probably going to be higher.
Yeah, I would be doing USDT for whatever my benefit is. I don't know what that is yet. You know, I'm still super new.
So, but you could collateralize. Actually, I don't know if you could collateralize USDT. Yeah, you could. So you could put it right now in AAVE, and you would get 5% interest, 6% interest almost, just for putting it in AAVE.
That's not Avalanche. That's AAVE. It's different.
AAVE.com. Yeah, so I'll share.
Yeah, I have that on Coinbase.
No,
AAVE.
so this is all right. I'm glad you said that because this is different. This is on the MetaMask side.
Okay.
So you would need to connect your MetaMask wallet, be on the right blockchain, and then deposit. So here is giving about 6%. Let's see what it's doing on Ethereum.
So you mean
About
in my MetaMask, I could look. Okay, so I would go to my MetaMask and then I would transfer some of my USDT that's in there to AAVE.
deposit it. Yeah, you would deposit it.
Sorry,
into
deposit. Okay.
So by depositing it, if you just stay on the Ethereum blockchain, they'll give you 3% interest and about 0.5% interest in AAVE coin. If you do it on the Polygon blockchain, they will give you, oh wow, look at that. They give you about 7%, 7.5% interest on the Polygon blockchain. And then on the Avalanche blockchain, they give you about 6% interest.
And what's the benefits, or like Paco was talking about before, you know, what's the negative side or the downside of saying, okay, I can deposit it 3% on the AAVE one, or 7% Polygon one, or 6%, you said Avalanche, right?
Yep.
Like,
So
what's the good and bad sides of those?
So the bad side is the good side is of course you get interest instead of right now it's sitting in your wallet doing nothing.
Right.
So because it's USDC, it doesn't even go up and down in value like a
No,
Bitcoin.
it's USDT.
USDT, sorry. Since it's USDT,
But it does go up though, Mig. It goes up a lot sometimes. Like I'm telling you, it was like
that's interesting actually. I didn't know that. I never really owned USDT, but it's not going to be like Bitcoin where it'll go up 20% in a day or something like that. You know, that's where
no, but I mean, there could be different days that it's like I just told you, like a couple times I saw it at like over $580, and I'm like, holy shit! And then 200, 300. Couple days it was below the 10,000 mark, but I mean it's up a lot, and I keep saying,
yeah.
oh, I wonder if I keep extracting that, is that a gain?
I think it is. I think, but again, you have to swap it to a coin that the value is less than that coin at that specific moment.
Right. Okay.
So okay. So go back to your question because there's a good one. What's the negative? Negative is one USDT. Somebody just said it on the Instagram is under scrutiny right now. They are. So let me explain what all these stable coins are. So if you see DAI is one stable coin, USDT is one stable coin, USDC is another stable coin. So there's 3 different stable coins. DAI is another type of AAVE where it's a robot that's trading currencies to try to keep DAI at $1. But it's up and down just like USDT. So, but it's called an automatic kind of like autonomous stablecoin. So it basically behind the scenes is doing stuff to keep it at itself at $1. USDC is a company that says if you have one USDC, we have in a bank $1. So every USDC we have also has $1. So you are safe in knowing that if there's one USDC, there's $1 always. USDT says the same thing, but the SEC called their bluff and they were like, you know what? We don't believe that you have one USDT for every dollar or $1 for every USDT. We need you to prove it to us. USDT said no. And the SEC was like, okay. But I don't know how that happened, actually. I don't know how the SEC backed down from that, but they did. But that gave the whole industry a little bit of a pause, like, wait a minute. Why wouldn't you want to prove that? If you really are doing that and you have that, why not prove it? Because then it makes us want to use your coin more.
I think probably because they realize if it's decentralized, it's like, why would they give into quote unquote the man? Like if this
that's possible, but they are centralized. USDT is centralized. They're a company. It's not like
Mm,
not like an AAVE. It's actually
okay.
like a company. So it was a little bit of a shady thing. And if you look right now, they have the lowest amount of money in here. If you look, there's $900 million of DAI, there's $1.6 billion of USDC, and there's 300 million of USDT. That's because most of the crypto space does not trust USDT. I personally do not trust USDT either. Anytime I take a loan, I take a loan in USDC. I don't even do DAI. Sometimes I do DAI based on the interest. Like today, look, the DAI interest is higher. So, but that's not always the case. On average, USDC is better. But USDT, I tend to stay away from. And then every now and then, AAVE will decollateralize USDT. So they will say you can't even borrow off of it because we don't trust it. So that's a reason to change. It could be, depending on how much money, it could be a large hit though to change, right? Because if you got 1,000 and it's a 5%, that's one thing. You got 100,000 or 1,000,000, it's a lot of money, right? 5% of $1 million is a lot, right? Or 100,000 or 10,000, it starts to change your decision. Again, it depends on what you want to do. I would, again, not financial advice, I would at the right times be moving some USDT to coins that I think, one, are collateral, but also have value that can grow. So
So
again,
you mentioned Polygon and Avalanche. What are the good and bad points about either of the two?
good question. Really good question. So Polygon, the pro to Polygon is the gas fee is the lowest out of all blockchains, other than Solana. But Solana, you can't do Aave, right? So Polygon has a low gas fee. Once you're inside of the Polygon network, you can make a bunch of transactions and not even spend $1. So that's good. The con is to get into the Polygon blockchain, it's considered what's called a layer 2 solution to Ethereum. So you have to spend Ethereum gas fee to send it to Polygon. So you still have to pay a gas fee, but once it's in there, you pay a lot less gas fee, right? So Avalanche, the pro to Avalanche is it's a lower gas fee than Ethereum, but it's a higher gas fee than Polygon. The other pro to Avalanche is it's a layer 1 solution, meaning it's just like Ethereum. You can send money straight from Coinbase to Avalanche directly. So you don't have to pay that gas fee of Ethereum. The con to Avalanche is the gas fee is higher than Polygon. That's the only one right now that I can think of. So like yesterday, I literally spent like $70 on a gas fee and I didn't even know it because I always thought it was so cheap. I just pressed yes. I don't even look. And then I realized, wait a minute, I don't have any more Avalanche. And I had a bunch. And when I went back and looked, it was like, oh man, I was spending a high gas fee and not even knowing it. So that's a con. But if you think about both, another pro on the Avalanche side is Avalanche is giving away more interest right now because they want to bring people in to their ecosystem so they can use Avalanche. So to incentivize people, it's kind of like a bank saying, hey, we're opening new accounts. And if you open up a new account here, we'll give you this nice cool cup. Or one person is going to win a vacation to Bahamas, right? So all of these different blockchains are trying to incentivize people to come in, and Avalanche is giving a big amount of interest to do that. For how long, I don't fully know. I think it's a full year that they're going to be giving a nice amount of interest, and then we'll see what happens after that.
You mentioned 7% for Polygon, 6% for Avalanche, but then you also said, or maybe I didn't hear it right, but there was like other sort of incentives within that besides just the interest. What does that mean?
So when you get interest in, I'm not sure, am I still on my screen? Yeah. All right. So when you get interest in an AAVE, I'm gonna zoom in so you guys can see it more. They give you
So
two numbers.
you say AAVE, but not Avalanche.
Well, AAVE is on the Avalanche blockchain, and AAVE is on the Ethereum blockchain, and AAVE is on the Polygon blockchain. So
Okay.
each one is going to have a different interest rate because they're like different banks using the same template store. Get it? It's like it's the same exact code and everything, but
Mm-hmm.
it's different interest in different places. So go ahead, you got a question? No? All right. So USDC, if you look here, it says 2.64% interest and then 4.62 interest. But if you look here, this is in AAVE. So 4.62% of that interest is in the Avalanche coin. Sorry, AVAX coin, AVAX. 2.64, they're just going to put it back in USDC and grow your USDC. But most of this interest is coming in the Avalanche coin. There's pros and cons to that, right? The pro to that is Avalanche has gone up 2-3x in the past month. So if you were getting interest and it was, let's say, $1,000 and you were getting 4% interest, that 4% became 12%. The opposite also can happen though, right? It can go down. So pros and cons, right? If you get an interest in dollars, it's always going to be $1. So 2.6% of that is going to be in dollars. 4% of it, 4.6% is going to be an Avalanche coin, which I believe there's still room to grow on that coin because it's a layer one solution. It's the first layer one solution with a cheaper price to spend gas fee than Ethereum. And it has AAVE, which AAVE is a very powerful bank protocol. So that brings a lot of credibility to the blockchain of Avalanche.
I don't know if who else is on like this live with us, but I don't know if anyone else understands that because I didn't fully get it.
All right. Does anybody else understand and want to try to explain on Clubhouse? Actually, I know a few of you understand it, but I'm not sure if you were on listen mode only. All right. So nobody took the bait. What part did you not understand? So I could try again.
It got like a little cobwebbish. So I would, because I want to try to figure this out in the next couple of days, where to move the money, right? And you know, I know about diversifying. You don't put everything in one place. But right now, this particular you know, asset in USDT is just technically sitting there, and I'm watching it fluctuate, but it's not doing anything for me other than fluctuating. You know, I'm not gaining or losing really.
Yeah.
So
I think.
Well, I just want to try to figure out where to put it and how to get the most benefit. But I guess you were saying how AAVE goes up and down as well. I think you just said
Avalanche. So
Avalanche.
I know it's people because AAVE, Avalanche, they both have a V and an A. So Avalanche is the token of the blockchain. AAVE is the token of the bank protocol that is doing the whole borrow lending. Both of those you can buy as coins and put them as collateral. So what I would do, again, not financial advice, is I would probably bring it to Avalanche. Why? Avalanche is giving the highest interest rate. The gas fee thing yesterday did scare me, though. Like I started this $1,000 wallet, and yesterday the gas fee was it didn't make sense to make a transaction that was going to cost me. I was going to borrow $30 and it was going to cost me $6 to borrow it. So I felt like that doesn't make sense. But luckily, I have multiple banks. So I have one on Polygon, and I was able to do it on Polygon, and it cost me 12 cents versus $5-6. So this is where what I would do is I would take 50%, send it to the Polygon blockchain, take 50%, send it to the Avalanche blockchain, and put it both in the AAVE protocol. And you will be getting, well, USDT, you will be getting about 6% on Avalanche blockchain, and you will be getting about 7.5% on the Polygon blockchain. So that's better than any bank by far. And that's before you even start borrowing. They will let you borrow, but if you can see the interest when you borrow in USDT is much higher. You have to pay higher interest, but look, they're giving more reward. So they're actually paying you to borrow USDT, which is interesting. Check this out. I don't know if you understand this, but look, 3.98 interest is what you owe. So your loan has a 3.98% interest attached to it. But because you took that loan, they're willing to give you 7% in the Polygon coin. So you're really being paid 4% in Polygon to borrow USDT. That's pretty interesting. Does that make sense? Does that make sense to everybody? I lost everybody.
Miguel, I just got a quick question. Does AVAX have a fixed gas fee similar to a protocol like Cardano, or does it have a variable gas fee?
I thought it was pretty fixed, but yesterday I found out the hard way. It's a variable. I spent a lot of money on gas.
Is it variable based on the price of the token, or is it variable based on network transactions, like the activity on the network?
Both, because it's done in the coin, in the number of the coin. So it'll be like this gas fee is 0.07 AVAX. But if AVAX is up, then that cost is higher, right? But then based on the congestion of the network, it could be like 0.09. And that is a lot of money. Then that happened to me yesterday, and I just pressed yes. I didn't even look, and I paid it. And it's on YouTube, actually. If you want to go and watch it. Yeah, go ahead.
With that being said, do you feel that if AVAX continue its parabolic growth, do you feel that the gas fees could come to rival those of Ethereum?
Good question. I don't know that answer. I would say yes. What you said? What you said, Milan? You said it will never happen? I think he said it will never happen. But what if Avalanche gets to be $3,000 a coin, though, or $4,000 a coin? You don't think? I don't know, though. That's the thing. You got to kind of do the math. I don't know. I guess I can't hear you, Milan. And Fresh, I'm not sure if he's still here.
Yeah, I'm still here. I'm still trying to figure it out. So you were just showing how if USDT, you're saying, and maybe can you just talk about it in regular dollars for a second, just so I can, wrap my head around it. You're saying if I took a loan with with USDT, let's say $1,000 loan. Yep. The interest rate on that is like I forgot the chart just went away, but 3.97.
So depends on which one you do it, but so let's say 3.6.
Well, borrow 3.97 it says for USDT.
Yep, that's on Polygon. Yep, okay.
Oh, okay, Polygon. So if that's the case, no, that just changed because.
So I think you have a little bit of a delay of what I'm doing. It's going to come back right now.
Okay, so on the AAVE one, so 3.97. There you go. Now you're saying, let's say I took out $1,000 loan at 3.97%. They're going to give me then 7.33% on what? On the $1,000 that I took out?
Yep.
Exactly. I don't even understand. Like no bank in America does that, or am I?
Yeah. So this is where this opportunity is. You caught it right there. No bank is going to do this. They're basically giving you stock in the company for borrowing at their bank on their blockchain. Yeah, it's no joke. This is insane. And the percentages used to be much higher. That's why I'm saying everybody has to start doing this now because the percentages are going to go lower and lower the more people do it. But right now they're trying to incentivize us to come in and do it.
Wait, so you can basically take a loan from them and they're literally paying you to do that.
Exactly.
This is genius.
This has been happening for 6 months.
All right, listen, don't shun me, man. I've been busy, goddammit. I've been
Yes.
making money to be able to even jump in this conversation. No,
True.
this is crazy. Like, I can't even wrap my head around it because I'm like, where's the gag? Where's the
Yeah.
gag?
So I'll give you the reason. Like, you're like, what's the catch, right? Like, why
Yeah.
would they do this? The 7% is coming from the blockchain. Polygon is the one giving you this extra 7% because you're benefiting them by doing this on their blockchain.
Yes.
So the different blockchains are fighting for your money, just like different banks. So they're saying, look, I'll give you 6%, I'll give you 7%. So the more companies, more blockchains that open up an AAVE, the more competition for your dollars. So they're going to keep doing this for a little while. I don't know how long, but I'll tell you, before these numbers were like 20%, and they're going down and down and down, and AAVE just launched theirs. So AAVE is newer, and the percentages are pretty high here too.
Oh, I don't see AAVEs. It just shows 2.33.
All right, no, Avalanche.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So look at this one. Avalanche is, if you buy the Avalanche coin and you just put it in as collateral, they will give you 12% plus another 1.77. And if you borrow, it's a higher interest. So you mostly want to borrow stable coins. So yeah, I mean, I gotta go pick up my kids, but I want to take any last questions fresh. Does this make sense for you now? I think it does. I think you hit
Yeah,
the light bulb.
yeah, I see all the potential now. I need to probably just be walked through the process so I don't fuck anything up. But
Yeah,
yeah.
for sure. Yeah. That's what we do in the Cracking Crypto thing. We actually take each other's wallets. I show people, okay, do this, and we watch and we say, no, don't do that. Of course, there's probably YouTube videos. You probably find it. I've definitely done it on YouTube. Can't point to the specific video, but I've done it. I think this is like so worth you going and just doing it
Yep.
and seeing the process, and from there going deeper and deeper into understanding and putting more money. Because if you have a certain amount of money in this system, you can live a long time off of it. Especially if you buy at the right times, the right coins. Bitcoin and Ethereum are going to come crashing down eventually. That happens every 4 years. So you don't want to only, hold Bitcoin and Ethereum and just wait. You have to start making sure you're taking advantage of these ups and downs. And that's why I say when it goes up, sell some. When it comes down, buy more of those coins, but keep USDC in your bank. And you will grow your bank more and more and more. And then you get to a certain point, you could borrow the whole year of your life, no problem. And nobody's gonna tell you anything.
What's the 4-year milestone? Like when does it happen? Like meaning when was it? When will it be again?
So we're right in the middle of it. So every December of the 4 years, there's a huge pump that happens. We're about to head into December. So most people believe you're going to get another pump. And when that happens, if you're just holding it and it comes back down, that's cool. You can wait another 4 years and Bitcoin will be worth more in another 4 years. But if you sold some, you might benefit from that profit. All right. So wait, there's a bunch of questions. Sorry. All right. Thanks for doing this. You're welcome, Joswell. Wow. Thanks, Leslie. All right. Cooper. Is Aave the only coin that you can transfer directly? Oh, Avalanche. Yes. The only coin you can transfer from Coinbase directly to Avalanche is the Avalanche coin. Any other tokens? No, not that I know of. I've tested USDC and it definitely didn't get there. Luckily, I only did like $1. Say it again.
You can do it with Solana too.
Oh, so Solana, he's right. You could do it with Solana to the Solana blockchain though, because Solana is also a layer 1 solution. I did have a conversation with somebody yesterday that said Polygon in the next 3 to 6 months, you'll be able to go directly from Coinbase to the Polygon network, because the Polygon is a layer 2 solution. It's a little bit harder to do. She's talking about the Miguel plan. Yes, Cooper. Yes, that's the Miguel plan. We got to name it something better than the Miguel plan, but yes. What's causing the confusion? That's what's causing the confusion. Well, you have to be clear about AAVE, Avalanche, and AAVE.com. Okay, so he's right. There's the AAVE coin. There's the Avalanche coin. There's the AAVE protocol. There's the Avalanche blockchain. And then there's AAVE.com where you put all this together. So there's some mind-bending stuff you got to get around, and you're going to have to do the homework. Nobody could do that for you except you. But like I like to say, what's more important than making money? Growing your money, because that means you have to work less, right? So if you make $500 a week and you could turn that $500 into $550, you have to work less years to retire, right? I think that it makes much sense to spend as much time as you spend working on learning how to grow your money, because it means you will spend less time working. That's just my thinking. I'm not sure if I'm right about that, but I'm pretty sure I am. I'm a little bit late. I'm from Jamaica. All right, we're growing. We're international. How do I even start doing any of this? Drop links. All right, so the first thing you want to do is you want to go to massideation.community. That is our Discord server where we just have conversation about it. We help people. And then if you really want to join our group coaching, there's crackingcrypto.club. Those are the fastest ways. But I have made video on YouTube of all of this. Again, I can't pinpoint the specific. I've done it many times. If you want to just go through the YouTube videos, you will get all the information there. If you want it quicker, come to the community and the Cracking Crypto Club. So, and that note, if there's any other questions from anybody? Let me see the Instagram. Anybody? Go ahead. Any questions? No? Okay.
Miguel,
So
I do have one question just to see if you're doing this around, but like, are you doing any private sort of consultation or like charging somebody for like an hour for you to walk them through the process of whatever their process is? Are you at that stage?
Done that. I have done like consulting agreements with people. I don't know how many of those I'll do because there's not enough hours in the day, but I would, yes, I have done that. You know me, I have done that. And I do one-on-one consultations, but like in group,
Cracking
not
Crypto.
No, the group setting thing I do Cracking Crypto, but like I tend to say, more than one meeting, because one meeting, I doubt people are gonna get it in one shot. So if I do a consulting agreement, I do like multiple meetings, right? So if you're interested in that, definitely reach out. Yeah, and Fresh is part of the Cracking Crypto group, so she's more advanced than she thinks she is. But we could go through your. I guess you don't want everybody to see your full amount of money, but if you want to send a little bit to another wallet, and I could walk you through some stuff in the next class, or even before that, we could talk and let's figure it out, because I think you're in a great position, and I think the sooner you understand it, the more you could do anything.
Yeah, I mean, well, with MetaMask, it was great because I was able to have my account 1, then account 2. Like I don't know if everybody knows this, but in the MetaMask, you can actually have various accounts and name them. So yeah, you can only see the one that's available at that moment, right?
Yes, but this is a big thing. I'm glad she said this. Each one of those accounts is a different 12-word password. So just because you open MetaMask and you start adding more accounts, that doesn't mean that you're going to be able to get back into both those wallets. So you have to make sure that you have both of those words, those sets of words. So because you can open it in another place when you lost your wallet and be like, all right, where's my other wallet? So make sure you really look at that. And one thing I tell people to do is, oh man, I keep getting lost. One thing I tell people to do is, I got somebody called me and it loses the audio here, so I'm about to end it. But what was I about to say?
You were talking about the MetaMask 2 accounts, but Miguel, I don't know if that's actually true, because when we opened my second one, it didn't give me a new set of words. It was the same set of words.
So do this then. Log in to your MetaMask in another browser or on the phone and see if you see both wallets.
Well, yeah, but now I'm getting nervous and thinking I should just take the big dog one and move it to the one that I do know the 12 words for, just in case something weird happened.
Yeah, you could do that. You could do that. But I still think there's really no way around having multiple wallets. I think you have to have multiple wallets to be the safest you can be. So making sure you have access to both those wallets, to start understanding how to manage that system of having multiple wallets. The thing to not be scared is open up a different browser like Chrome or Brave, install MetaMask, and put the code in, and you'll see. You can have MetaMask on Brave and Chrome, and it's all on the same computer. So just go into Chrome or Brave, whichever one you're using, do the opposite, and just log in and see if you see both wallets. And if you don't, go in and make sure that you have the right passwords.
Okay. Thank you, dude.
No problem.
I was saying, you need the private keys, not the seed phrase. So if you have a second account, if they go in settings, and it's a private key that you need.
There you go. So it's not only, I'm glad you said that because I totally forgot about that. It's been so long. It's a private key. So this is like some long ass number and words. You may need to copy paste it. But again, don't put it on a computer. Write it somewhere, because this is the goods. If you lose this, you can't get back in. Got it? Good stuff.
Yeah,
Thank you for that.
I'm sweating right now. Like I gotta go look.
Yeah, definitely do it. Definitely do it. All right. So thank you everybody who coming by. Thank you, Fresh, for the questions. Amazing. I'm glad you are taking the next steps and finding the hurdles and asking, because that's why I make these lives. I want everybody to do this. If we all do this, it really could change communities. Imagine if everybody was doing this. We don't need the bank to tell us, let's invest ourselves in something we believe our community needs. We don't need no bank, right? And that's power. That's power. And I hope we all get there. I'll keep creating contents for us to get there. Thank you for coming by.
This isn't the future. This is the present now. This is right here, right now. Yeah.
100%. Thank you, Fresh. Thanks for everybody who came by and watched. If you're watching on YouTube, please like, subscribe. See you next time.
Thanks, Miguelito.